as VP of PKR, your duties and responsibilities specifically, can you just outline?
Well, of course, the main duties and responsibilities are first under the guise of the party. In the party itself, we all, the first week itself, we were assigned to certain states, just getting their feedback, because after the direct election process, you wanted more greater input from the different states. The president has the power to appoint state leadership, just to gather what are the basic required needs. So I was taking care of Negeri Sembilan and Melaka, but also on a larger scale, a lot of the work is to make sure that we plan out various programs to garner or get support from the younger electorates. This is two-pronged. I'm one of the main persons assigned for this task. One is through town hall meetings, and the other is through Jelajah, our normal public rally programs. And third, so that's as for voters, and the third is the overall strategy in terms of what are the manifestos that we want to present at the local level. In Wilayah, I'm quite active working with the MPN, and we have actually commissioned our own 100-day plan for Wilayah if we were to take federal government. And of course the rest is to keep up in line with the reinvigorating different divisions, especially in the states that Keadilan has won. And from then onwards, bring it up to Pakatan Rakyat level. A lot of active responsibilities and work with the Secretariat as well as the Presidential Council meet. And one of the biggest projects or things that I'm working on is the Democracy Rehabilitation Act.
Okay.
Now
Isn't it called the Democracy Reform Act?
Rehabilitation.
Act. Okay. Alright.
Rehabilitate.
Right. Okay.
In spirit, respecting what has been enshrined in the Malaysian Constitution.
Okay.
So that is my biggest, one of my biggest projects, trying to make sure we introduce the bill. Since the Prime Minister has not responded to my bipartisan call, the next sitting. Yeah, so we're drafting the actual bill itself, but the petition is going on because first and foremost we want to revoke all emergency declarations.
Okay. What milestones have you made, or are you moving closer to it since you took on this position?
I think right now it's more of trying. Like for me, my plan is clear. I had a fundraising dinner where I distributed my plan of action, my policies and my ideals for the future of Malaysia. And so those things are clear, but I would probably need some time just for this entire month to assess the needs of different states, to assess the needs of the party, and work closely with the Secretariat because they also have planned a lot of programs under the Strategic Director also of Rafizi Ramli. So just trying to make sure we work together cohesively as a unit. I mean, it's not going to be an individual pursuit because if I don't organize my plans and programs in a more unified manner, then I don't think we will get the intended result. So the milestones right now is to ensure that the Democracy Rehabilitation Act sees the light of day, trying to get as much bipartisan support as possible, and that it is recognizable by the different Pakatan Rakyat leadership. That's one. Second, to also promote the 100-day plan as well as the Buku Jingga concept, working closely with Rafizi and the rest of the team. I always stress that it's a team effort, and we have to be on the offensive, propagate our successes, propagate the fact that we have been very successful in terms of governing the different states that are under us.
Okay. Beyond just the election itself, on a day-to-day basis, what would you say to MPs who would possibly say, of course, Nurul will be able to get the year of the de facto leader, and for us, we don't get that kind of individual attention, therefore, we have to seek out other channels. What would you respond?
sometimes there's always a flip side to that, because just because they're not the daughter of the de facto leader, they are given more attention. So there will always be excuses, and I think that, I mean, of course I can try my best as a human being to be as professional as possible and say that all issues are raised during official meetings in the party, but I can't possibly answer to all grievances. But I believe that the best way to do it is the way you conduct yourself, the way you address issues, and time and experience, and also how people perceive your actions will be the judge of how well or how badly I will be doing. And again, I think, it's also important internally for everyone to speak their mind. I welcome, if there are disagreements, even some sort of impressions that are not favorable in terms of how the de facto leader or myself feels. I mean, why not bring it up during party, during the channels that are located in the party? That's of course welcome, and we need to do that, because how else do we improve? So I would urge them, you really feel this is a strong point, come to me, let me know. We can have a chat over coffee.
Okay. This position that you have now, was it something that you planned? Was this part of your career progression?
Truthfully, I would say no. Because, of course, for me, the thing that was most important since '98 was how I developed a sense of what is worth to be fighting for, my basic principles, how I view the future of the country, and how I would like to help in assisting to realize that future. But to say, to contest, I mean, I wasn't privy to the decision-making process before direct elections was decided on by the leadership. That was not my decision. Of course, at the lower level, as a member, as a leader in the party, sure, we gave our two cents worth. I was actually not in favor. But for me, I think it's important. I mean, politics is such a dynamic field. You must have a clear sense of what you want in life. However, you must also be able to allocate certain sense of flexibility, in terms of decision you make. So it is also based on the happenings of the past 1 year, on the developments on a day-to-day, monthly basis, on how I view electorates, how I view my role, how I view my performance, and what I want to do to improve all those elements. So I have to thank really my voters, the people I know, my supporters, my detractors, and because they have caused me, or that's why it resulted in the decisions I make. Because of this, different dynamics and different input from different sides. So it was not planned, I think, per se. I mean, I must say, one of the main criticisms leveled at me, criticisms as well as complimentary in different sense. I mean, I always wear my heart on my sleeve. And that, again, what do you do with that? Do you harness it so that it becomes your strength? It can also be your self-weakness.
What has your growth been like personally, starting from where you were in 1998, right up to now? What you thought was worth fighting for back then, is it the same thing as it is today? Has that changed?
Personally, this is a very difficult question, but personally, I always feel that there's always a part of me that was forever changed by 98. I'm not just talking about my father sacking, his eventual arrest. I'm talking about that moment in life where everything I held as sacred crumbled. That the sense that life is very fragile, and there are so many things that are so much more important than you. it just gave me a sense, a huge realization that it's not about any individual in our nation. I mean, it really is about a movement and the need to be part of something you believe in. I know it sounds very, I mean, for me it was quite a shattering moment where I am only a player in the movement for reformasi, and I guess there are so many other people who have been affected by the basic failures to democratize our country, and that realization has actually brought me to the person I am today. To say that I'm happy, I'm satisfied with my accomplishments, certainly far from it. It has been a very steep learning curve. I wish I could have done much better, but I'm happy that I'm staying the course. That's one thing, because I always believe reform is a lifelong process. So the struggle for reform is a lifelong process. So I don't know. I never try to think what would I have done if 98 didn't happen to me. And I think it's an exercise in futility, because I'm so glad that 98 happened. Because I certainly wouldn't want to join the UMNO. I never joined a political. I mean, I never joined UMNO at all. But just saying that.
Do you want to go on quote for that?
Yeah, you can quote. Oh, you can quote me on that.
Okay.
I mean, because how it has to be something that I believe in, and full pride.